live, Outlaw. Thank you for the coffee emoji. Got my coffee right here. My sweet and sick Darth Maul mug here. I love Darth Maul, hands down one of my favorite characters. But good morning, Outlaw, and thank you for being a member. Appreciate that. All right, we already have some questions in the chat. These are long questions, so I'm gonna look at my computer for these, just because there's multiple of them. Take a sip of my good old Joe, and by Joe I mean Starbucks. I'm a millennial. You know, what can I say? I'm a young millennial. I think my last video kind of solidified that a little bit. Okay. LJZ says 100% PNT, open higher level review for pain. You sign the 820 form to withdraw the claim, no response. You signed 4 of them, no response. Should I submit a 5th one or stop following up? Don't worry about it, dude. You're 100% PNT. I don't even know why you would cancel the HLR for the pain anyways. You should have just went through the process as normal. It's irrelevant, but whatever. You already submitted the 820, no big deal. Either go or don't go. It's up to you. You're a PNT, don't worry about it. Submitted clothing allowance. When should you expect the payment? Summertime. I'm sure we'll get an actual date here soon. Sharing got the VA app under commissary letter. Veteran can see 100% PNT. Yeah, there's tons of ways veterans can figure out if their 100% is PNT or not. That is one way. The easiest way is look at your decision letter, and it'll say if you rate DEA or not, chapter 35. If it says it, then you're PNT, big dog. All right. I gotta make sure I show the mug, you know? I love this thing. Mr. Mont says reserve only for the last 14 years with no active duty time, other than training. Had incidents occur on IDT and ADT that's caused problems for me. You submitted your first claim in March of last year. You were awarded service connection in April. All right. VA has yet to compensate me because they are unsure if I should have been awarded because I'm only a reservist when it clearly states. That's probably not why the VA hasn't compensated you. It's probably because you were just awarded. They got to do an audit because you are a reservist, right? Or guardsman, whatever that looks like for you. So an audit's got to take place. So don't sweat it. You're really barking up. You're making a problem out of nothing. I'm reading your other 2 comments. Yeah, there isn't a problem here, Mr. Mont. You just need to relax a little bit, and the VA will come around. All right, Sarah P., thank you for being a member. I definitely appreciate that. Good morning. Good morning. Daniel Ashlock says, finally caught alive. Welcome. Well, I have a scheduled. I really don't schedule these because I just have way too much happening. But I have a scheduled live with an accredited VSO on Saturday for May the 4th. It'll be Star Wars themed. Obviously, I am a nerd, so whatever. But yeah, welcome. All right, answering some questions here. Okay, let's start with Sarah. Members always get first dibs, all right? I will go back up to you, Daniel Gilland, here in a second. All right, Sarah says, I submitted my claim on Monday. I'm getting conflicting information on how my personal statement should have been formatted. I gave the history behind my disabilities, diagnosis, and treatment, how it affects me on a daily basis. It sounds fine, right? You should have used the 4138 or 10210, it doesn't matter. You could also just use a Word document, doesn't matter. I personally would use the 4138. But if you included the history behind the condition, your diagnosis, and your treatment, that's a good personal statement, right? I'm more concerned about the in-service event, because you clearly have the diagnosis according to this comment here. And so I would be worried about the in-service event. As long as you have that, it sounds like a solid claim. Yep, that's fine, Sarah P. Don't even worry about it. Based on your comments, your statement is probably good. Okay, let's go back up to our homie. They're presumptives. Don't worry about it. You're fine. You are fine. Okay. Yeah, if they're presumptives, that changes the game. You're good. All right. Daniel says, good morning. Can you explain when or when not to include a personal statement? This is a good question. Good segue. Also, can you use medical studies or surveys as evidence? I'll hit on the medical studies first, because you're going to get two answers for this. Some people will say yes. Some people will say no. Now, I'll give you my answer at the end, but I like to give you the options. So the reasons for yes is because any evidence that supports your condition is good, right? There's two forms of evidence. There's evidence that supports, and there's evidence that conflicts or takes away. You don't want that, right? So if they support your condition, sure, go for it. The reason why someone would say no is because, first off, there are other factors within that study that may or may not apply to you. And it could actually be a detriment, right? Because we're not medical professionals. A doctor, believe it or not, someone who goes to med school is really good at reading studies, reading articles, okay? And that's an understatement. They know what they're doing. It's not the same as like if I were to read a study, okay? Now, my personal answer is no. Can you? Sure, it's not a big deal. It's not gonna, you're fine. I wouldn't, simply because no one's gonna read them, all right? No one's sifting through that. You're gonna have a C&P exam. That C&P examiner is gonna give their opinion. They're not gonna look at your studies, okay? The VA is not going to send those studies to that examiner anyways. So that's my answer. Either or is fine, all right? I'm on the no side. All right. Reading Annette says, good morning from North Padre Island. Good morning, Texas. All right. Killmonger says, good morning, Clay. What's up? Steve's World says, I wish I was down on the Texas coast. Yeah. Good morning. Again, I got you, Killmongers. I read these in order. Steve, good morning. Derek Amos says, do I need a Nexus letter if there's no medical evidence? Ugh. First off, the Nexus can't be built without medical evidence. Well, without evidence, okay? Medical evidence would make the Nexus really strong. But if you have no medical evidence, I don't understand why you would even consider a medical opinion in the first place, unless you have very, very, very strong evidence other than medical, right? An example would be, okay, you deployed, were in combat, an event happened, you have the D214 and the awards to back that stressor up. You talk about the stressor, although you never went to go see medical or behavioral health, that is still evidence other than medical, right? So situation depends. But if we're talking about essentially not mental health, and you have zero medical evidence, I would caution getting an opinion, especially on an initial claim, okay? Especially on an initial claim, because it would be weak. And that's based off this one comment. There's obviously context to your situation that I don't know. Fuse Man says, good morning. What's up? Good morning. All right. Moving on to member chat here. Daniel Ashlock says, I got 2 C&P exams this month, one telehealth for mental health and the others for spine x-rays from scoliosis I had on military entrance, which was aggravated by boot camp injury. What should I expect? I have 2 videos on what you should expect. You should definitely look at them. I can't really pin them because YouTube is dumb. If you just Google or look up mental health C&P exam, TheCivDiv, I'm sure it'll pop up. But I'll give you a synopsis version, but definitely watch the full version because there's a lot I'm not going to cover here. For mental health, there's 3 time periods. There's pre, during, and post, right? So pre-service, if you talk about, you know, your dad beat you and your parents were divorced and you were depressed since you were 6 years old, you're kind of creating the argument of aggravation versus direct service connection, okay? During service is really going to be the meat and potatoes. What happened during service when you started experiencing these symptoms? What's your evidence like? You know, depending on your situation, that could be a specific event like combat or military sexual trauma, or it could just be general, right? Like an adjustment disorder. And then post-service is, okay, well, show me the continuity of symptoms from leaving the military to right now. And that's pretty much how the C&P exam is going to go for that. For the back, they'll ask you a few questions. You're going to bend forward, bend backwards, bend side to side. You're going to rotate. Depending on your nerves in your legs, which if your legs go to sleep, be sure to express that to the C&P examiner. They may do a nerve function test by like hitting your knee, you know, where your knee goes boop, like that. But yeah, that's pretty much how those C&P exams are going to go. Very straightforward, but definitely watch any videos I have on those, specifically for the back. Actually, here's what you want to do. You want to go to CivDivOnline.com, because I made it way easy for anyone. I'll turn my phone around. You see CivDivOnline.com right here? You're going to scroll down, and that says mental health. Bam! You're going to click that link. And then you'll find symptoms and then C&P exams. That's the video I was talking about. And then you can scroll down for the back, which is right here, and you'll find lower back pain. All right? So easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I wish I could share my screen on the phone, but you get the point. CivDivOnline.com. All right, Daniel. Thank you very much for being a member. I appreciate that. Oh, you're fine. You're fine, Daniel. It could also be general, like adjustment disorder, from joining the military to adjusting to military life, and then on the flip side, right, getting out of that military life and adjusting back to, you know, normal people. Okay. I want to see if I can add a comment or something like that. Oh, I can start a poll. Top chat, live chat, super chat, hide. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I think I messed it up. I hope not. Okay, whatever. Let's go back up to the top. Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. All right, we are on. Klausel Ray says, good morning. I'm rated 10% for tinnitus. I have a doctor that would do a Nexus letter but won't do a DBQ for the secondary condition. Is this right or wrong? I mean, what are you gonna do? Hold your provider at gunpoint? You know, it's not either right or wrong. They may not feel comfortable completing the DBQ. Right or wrong isn't the question. Isn't not how I would word that, right? If they won't do it, they won't do it. Now that's your primary. You can also go private, assuming you have that option. And if not, then you can go outside. And what's funny is that in 26 minutes, I have a video explaining that. It's going to drop at 10 in the morning Eastern time. So very, very soon. All right, William Wells Sr., good morning, Clay. All right, got the coffee. We out here. That was weird. That was weird. We didn't like that. Oh yeah, Outlaw says hit the thumbs up. Hey, if you get value from these lives, I'd appreciate it if you just hit the like button, okay? Helps me, it helps you, it helps more veterans. It'll take you 1 second to do. All right. Good morning, Clay. I was a corpsman and we took care of ourselves and nothing much made the medical records. That sucks. Now lacking proof. Do you have any ideas? Statements and lay statements, right? Are there fellow corpsmen that you could speak to that could almost testify to your situation? Depends what we're really talking about, right? If you're talking about like I took Tylenol once for a headache, that's a little weak. Now if you're taking like medication for years, and you're just doing it under the table, that's different. There's tons of context, right, Sarah? I'm a huge Darth Maul fan. You can see my hat back there. Hey, we don't want no Russians in here? Okay. Alright. Are you able to work with SMCL? There's no limitations on your ability to work unless you're IU. But if you want to work, for whatever reason, everyone's situation is different. There's not an income limitation, okay? Just IU. Steve's World. What's weird about these lives is, for some reason, when I answer a question, it just kind of molds into the next one, okay? For instance, Steve says, how does TDIU happen? If someone gets 100% for mental health and 60 and other, do they automatically put you in for SMC? Yeah, the SMCS is going to be automatic. As far as IU, you could be rated out the gate for IU, or you could submit the form, whatever the form is for IU, either or. But as far as how does it happen, it's just like every other claim, except for IU is going to look at employment history, and then your disabilities when it comes to your ability to work, right? Air Force Vet says, good morning, aim high. I assume that's a Air Force thing, but yeah, man. Yeah, I'm loving the Darth Maul hype in the chat, though. You know, I'll answer questions, but I'm just going to pull my Darth Maul stuff out because I'm a big nerd. All right. We'll answer some questions here. Someone said, oh, we got a member. Michael, thank you for being a member. I appreciate that, brother. Says, turn my phone up. Where to get a prior DBQ version for claim with intent submitted prior to condition. If you have a DBQ that's already been completed for a claim, I assume you mean C&P examiner. I assume. If not, add to that, Michael. You would do a request, either C file, which would take forever, or you could request that specific exam. You do that through your regional office, okay? Side note, if you have a solid accredited VSO who's not completely overtasked, then they can get that to you for free. Well, for free, yes, but fast. Okay, I'll show a toy and then I'll answer a question. Darth Maul toy. Sick, right? Awesome. All right. Let's see. Killmonger says, I was wondering if you believe I could secondary sleep apnea to asthma. I have diagnosis for both. You can, right? It's actually a pretty solid connection. Much stronger than mental health. So yes, you could absolutely connect sleep apnea to asthma. Now, depending on your rating for asthma, because sleep apnea and asthma is going to be combined. There's a small 38 CFR code where they could rate a higher rating for those. It's very, very, I would say rare, at least very uncommon. But yeah, you can do that, right? So if your asthma rating is 60%, I wouldn't worry about it. If it's lower than that, then you might want to start that claim. Daniel Gillen, thank you very much for the super sticker. I appreciate that. I hope I answered your question, man. Thank you, seriously. Appreciate that, dude. I appreciate it. My family appreciates it. My newborn is right over there. Right over there. Take a little nap. All right. Steve's World says, thank you for answering my question. Thank you for the donation, Steve. I definitely appreciate that, brother. Says, You are the first person who gave me a direct answer on SMCS. Oh, no problem. That was the easy question, dude. I've had there hasn't been too many questions that I've been like, whoa, that's a good question. Like that's a hard one. That was an easy one, dude. Right. Now I've had some serious questions, but all right. Christine June, I think we are talking on LinkedIn. If we are, let me know. That'd be cool that you joined live. That'd be dope. Christine June says, any word on the new rating schedule for mental health? Haven't seen anything recently. Nope. We're just kind of hanging out. We're waiting for it. We are waiting for the those changes, right? All right. I'm going to go back up to the top here in a second. And we are on Sergeant King. Good morning. Thank you. We're on Chris Lancaster. All right. So thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Art Nelson, thank you very much. I always learn a lot. Keep up the good work. Hey, man. And prep for May the 4th. All right. I showed this one. Here's another one. Darth Maul, little toy. Okay. Yes. I'm an idiot. Okay. Big Paw, thank you for being a member. Is it better to file claims individually with maybe a secondary to, or lump them in groups? Yeah, I hate this question, and I've seen a few other videos on it that, awesome, Christine. I've seen other videos on should you claim multiple claims at once. They're all baloney. There's only one answer. There's only one answer, okay? The answer is, what do you have the evidence for? If you have the evidence for those conditions, then that's what you submit, okay? Now, you have an entire year for your intent to file, so spend that whole time. There's no reason you should be like, oh, I'm 3 months in, screw it, I'm just going to submit this, right? It's like, whoa, breathe, relax. The VA is not going to move any faster. Just take a chill pill, okay? Gather the evidence and get your evidence-based claims in, right? Don't submit baloney. All right. Chris Lancaster, thank you everyone for the donations and the being a member. I appreciate that. Chris Lancaster says, I'm currently rated at 90%, 70 for PTSD, but I feel I should be at 100 as my symptoms have worsened. I submitted intent to file about 9 months ago. All right, Chris. Oh, okay. Had my C&P exam, and I don't think I had a favorable, so I'm wondering if I should now wait until the new rating comes into effect. What do you think? I think you should wait till the decision comes back, 1. 2, in most cases, okay, if you believe your 70% should be 100 and you submitted the increase and it was denied or confirmed and continued, then I would continue to gather evidence to show the cause for the 100% rating based on the proposed new criteria. So when it does come out, you submit the increase. Okay, Chaos Doc 89, thank you very much, brother. Appreciate that. Who should I use to file CRSC? So this is actually new news. This is actual news. There's an online way. Here's my Darth Maul bust. Look at that. Oh my gosh. CivDiv is a nerd. Okay. You could file CRSC online now. Okay. If you just Google CRSC VA, it'll take you to their page, and you can do it online, which is much easier than what it used to be. And that went live last week, I think. Last week, Chaos Doc. So look that up, right? You're gonna have to do some due diligence, and go that way. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. I am a nerd. I haven't even brought this bad boy over yet, but I'm going to. Okay. Fuse Man says, what can I do if I won PACT Act claim filed before the deadline but did not receive the 12-month back pay? So there are a few clauses in there, but that's not the right way to say it. There's some context that I would need to see to really answer that question, but generally speaking, if you filed before the deadline, right, or that was your intent to file, not that you filed, if your intent to file was prior to the deadline, and that rating would have changed your, well, it doesn't matter. If that's the case for you, your intent to file was pre-deadline, whatever date that was, like September 23, I think, then yeah, you would do a higher level review for the effective date, which is a very common HLR actually, unfortunately. But that's what I would do. And in most cases, that's going to be the answer, right? Now, there's some definitely situations where that's not the answer, but. All right, slow to respond. I love that name. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Says, listening to you has helped ease my anxiety. Hey, that's awesome, dude. Not jumping the gun and submitting my claims without gathering my evidence first, so thanks a bunch. Yeah, there's no, that's probably, I'll make a video on this. We talked about the VA's #1 problem, which is hands down C&P exams. I think the veterans' #1 problem is just not taking the time for their intent to file. How many questions do we see on different forums and pages of saying, hey, my C&P exams next week, can I submit more evidence and a personal statement? It's like, dang, dude, why didn't you submit that with your claim? But thanks, slow to respond. Definitely appreciate that. We have some member chats I'm going to hit at, and then we'll get back up to the top here. We are on Ajax, so Ajax, you're up next. Edward Seiler, thank you for being a member. Appreciate that. Says, I had several problems with my stomach throughout my service, and I just received a DBQ linking all my stomach issues to IBS and GERD. Okay, that seems normal. Although I was never diagnosed with IBS or GERD in service, that could be, all right, we're getting somewhere. Are my service stomach issues my Nexus? No. To answer your question, no. Right, absolutely not. But depending on what your evidence for IBS and GERD from service, or any, whoa, this coffee got me, or any evidence of your stomach issues, right, like chronic diarrhea, abdominal pain, heartburn, any of those would be suffice here. And I assume that's in the realm you're talking about right now. There's a lot of context I don't know, but to answer your question, it's not the Nexus, all right? I would prefer you to have evidence from service. Medical would be preferred, but at least evidence other than medical for these conditions. And then most likely your abdominal issues, your stomach issues are going to be roped in with the IBS. Just based on this comment. There's a lot I don't know with your situation, okay? But that's what I see right now. Daniel, thank you for being a member, says, don't worry, Clay, you're not the only nerd here. 61, and I play Star Wars, other video games on the PC. Nice. Nice. My favorite nerdy thing is actually Lord of the Rings, right? But there's just not that much stuff out for Lord of the Rings. And everything's like stupid expensive, man. All right, Leander Savoy with a $5 super sticker. I appreciate that, Leander. Thank you very much. I don't see a chat there, but I definitely appreciate that. Okay, let me run through these, and then I'll get back to Ajax, all right? We are killing it today. Kauzul Tilloston, I know I butchered that, man. I apologize. Says, I'm currently 90%. Have a claim for migraines and sinus currently. Migraines are secondary to your PTSD. And although I have not been diagnosed, it's in my VA medical records, and that could do to boost my claim. Yeah, I wouldn't say boost, because it's just the wrong framework, mindset. But to get at your question, okay, I assume you have treatment codes in your VA medical records. Yesterday's video shows you how to find your SCT code. You're going to word search SCT in your VA medical records, your blue button report. If you're getting care through the VA, it's in there somewhere, okay? Which is not a diagnosis, but it's good enough to lead to the diagnosis, okay? Now that's from migraines, your sinuses. I would be curious as to what are your presumptives like? Like, do you rate PACT Act? If so, easy peasy, okay? And migraines and sinusitis are closely linked. Migraines are a symptom of sinusitis. And so if you have prostrating, right, which is like a VA adjudication word, then it seems like off this comment, you have a decent claim. The only thing that's sketchy that I see is the secondary piece, but migraines are a common secondary to PTSD, and if you're denied for that, depending on why you were denied, you might want to consider IMO. Okay. Kane Goodson, thank you very much for the donation, the super sticker. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, thank you very much. I don't see a chat, though. All right, Sarah P says, fellow Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones nerd here along with Star Wars. Nice. I actually just bought a minivan because I have 4 kids, and I bought Lord of the Rings on Blu-ray because my minivan has a DVD player in it, right? No one wants to watch Lord of the Rings but me, but I bought it anyways because it's my freaking van, all right? Okay, Ajax, I swear I'm coming back to you, don't worry. They just keep coming. It's kind of wild. I always feel weird when this happens. Eli Riddle, brother, thank you very much. If you have an update on your situation, Eli, can you post it in the chat for me? Greg, you're a solid. I'll word search that in a second. If you have an update to your situation, Eli Riddle, let me know. I definitely got it. Kane, I got you. 1 second. I just got a message from someone saying that I skipped your question, so I will definitely do it. First claim, any advice on getting VA to accept a DBQ? Ryan Thomas, thank you. Any advice on getting VA to accept DBQ from private psychiatrists? No, right? There's no really advice to get them to accept it. You submit the evidence, the VA reviews it, okay? And when it comes to private medical opinions and private DBQs, you really see those shine in appeals, right? That's my opinion, and secondary claims. Now, as far as your combat-related PTSD and you have a CAB with that, that's a solid evidence other than medical, okay? Anything to specifically ask the provider to note aside from the Nexus statement? Your symptoms. So based on this comment alone, I think you're in service event and you have the foundation for the Nexus, which is awesome, right? I wouldn't sweat being service connected or not. I would really look at how mental health is rated. I have probably my favorite video I ever made. It's also my most popular one, on video on mental health. Okay, I'm gonna show you where to go. Go to CivDivOnline.com. Okay, I'll type it up in the chat here in a second. Oh man, I knocked down Darth Maul. CivDivOnline.com. I know this isn't the most conducive. I'm sorry. Scroll down. Here's mental health. Click that bad boy. Bam. 70% symptoms for mental health. All right. Everything in that video would be my advice. There's 3 to 4 mental health symptoms that really stand out for 70% that I would recommend you really pay attention to. Okay, let's look at Kane. Sorry, Kane, I got you. I'm here for you. Kane Goodson says, hello, I sent you a message on Instagram or something. Would love to chat with you for a few minutes. Okay, I will definitely respond on Instagram, Kane. I got you, okay? Actually, if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget. So let me log in real quick. And I don't know. Is your name Kane on here too? Because if it is, Kane, don't super chat, okay? Just type it up in the chat right now. You send an email. Oh, an email. Okay. I'll check my email, brother. I assume if I word search Kane in my email, I'll find you, okay? I will reply. Okay, thank you very much, Ryan Thomas. I hope that answered your question. Edward Seiler says, I was prescribed Tagamet, Pepsid, Mutil medication, and given a lower GI during service. Okay, it sounds like you have the in-service events for stomach issues. Sarah P says that minivan DVD player is a lifesaver with kids. It's also a lifesaver when your wife is driving and I'm in the back seat, right, watching Lord of the Rings. Okay. Kane, I will respond to your email, brother. Don't worry. Yep, tracking that. Brian Thomas, if I end up having to still do a C&P exam, how does the rater consider the 2 DBQs? That is such a heavy question, dude. And the technical answer is the higher one, okay? The real answer is be prepared. If you're not properly rated, be prepared to do a higher level review. That's the real answer. They're supposed to look at both and give you the higher, assuming the DBQ is complete, right? Meaning like whoever did the DBQ looked at all your medical records. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Looked at all your records, right? It's complete. Did a full exam, whether that's telehealth or in person, right? Versus like, oh, I read your VA medical records and I did this DBQ without having an appointment with the veteran, right? One DBQ is really strong, one DBQ really sucks. So it depends on what your DBQ is. Eli Riddle says 80% waiting on sleep apnea, medical opinion. Conceded TERA, but sent out for third ACE. Waiting to see what they say. Mental health C&P exam on 15th for increase. I will win both. Awesome. Awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Eli Riddle is actually one I could confidently say that I know that Eli Riddle is kind of getting jerked around a bit. Okay. Elijah Frias, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. Says, thank you for what you do. You're the man. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Kane, whatever platform you message me on, as long as it's Kane Goodson, whether that's TikTok, Instagram, or email, I'll look it up. If it's not, you need to tell me what your name is so I can look it up. Okay. Ajax. That was a long, man. We had a good run there. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay. Ajax says, I filed a claim for PTSD increase and for new conditions with personal DBQ. Now the PFD phase, does this mean that I'm not going to be sent to a C&P exam and they have all the evidence? It could, right? I've seen a mental health, actually, medical opinion with a private DBQ go from submitting to finalize and rating given in 6 days, right? In 6 days. We made a video about that, actually. So, okay, Broom Maker says, I have a pre-service disability aggravation claim to send in, but my question is, can a new post-service non-service condition claim? I'm gonna have to read that again. James McAfee, no, you don't. I read the questions in order, right? Those that are members, and obviously those who donate, I'm obligated to read, right, first. But I will get to everyone's question as we go down. Hey, Jax, thank you very much, right? Thank you. Appreciate that. I hope I answered your question, man. If I didn't, just go ahead and type something up right now, and I'll go ahead and clarify something. But yeah, it could be good news. It could also be bad news, right? It's a double-edged sword there. It just tons of factors are at play. All right, Broommaker, I need to read this closely because it's a little weird. I have a pre-service disability aggravation claim. All right, so we have an aggravation claim. But my question is, can a new condition that happened after service be granted if it aggravates a direct service-connected condition? So, I'm trying to give an example here. Let's say I have anxiety, and you're saying that your migraines are aggravating your anxiety. The answer is yes. Okay, it could, or it could give the increase to the anxiety, and then vice versa. If your anxiety is stemming to your migraines, it could also be service connected. Okay, I think I answered that right. The question was worded a bit weird, Broommaker, so if I didn't, just go ahead and ask me to clarify something. Bobby D's, my absolute number one. Bobby D's will always be my favorite name on YouTube. I think it's funny. Okay. Hey Clay, I'm so close to 100%. Should I wait for the new mental health rating for an increase, or should I file GERD secondary to meds and IBS? I think you should file your secondary, assuming you have the evidence. There's no reason not to. Okay, no reason not to. You know, you could wait theoretically 10 years for mental health to change. It could be next month. But if you have the evidence, most important, Bobby, if you have the evidence meaning the big three, okay? If you have the evidence, there's no reason to not submit your claims, especially if they're going to push you to a higher overall rating, in this case 100%. Edward Seiler, thank you very much, man. You are a member. I appreciate that. I don't think I missed a chat from Edward, but if I did, Eddie, put it down below. All right, thank you. Thank you, seriously. All right, Brandon Chavez says, good morning, brother. I currently have a major depressive disorder, anxiety due to MST. I hate to see this, man. I hate to see it. I was diagnosed at my initial mental health C&P exam with MDD and probably GAD, general anxiety. Was told April 2nd that May 9th is my claim review date. What does that mean? Just means they're going to review the claim, man. Don't worry about that. So everyone, it's so funny that the VA's attempt at being more transparent just causes confusion whenever they started doing all the, internal claim process codes and shooting that out through va.gov. It just made everything worse. So Brandon Chavez, I say that to tell you, don't worry about it, okay? Do not worry about it. You're fine. Your claim's being reviewed. And I understand I'm saying that to someone with MDD and anxiety. That probably doesn't help. But just breathe. If you seek healthcare, do those, tactics, if you will, and just let the process ride. All right. Tani Alexis, I probably butchered your name. All right. Thank you for being a member. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining the ranks of Lance Corporal. I see that. All right. Lance Corporals are the blood that makes the grass grow. Remember that. Okay. Let's see. Option C. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. And you're a member. And you are a member. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. H Bates. Yeah, option C. If you have any, if you have a question, let me know. Okay. H Bates says, what if there's no service events and no in-service medical records? Just have a checklist of symptoms of an ETS physical sign checklist. That's the in-service event right there. What you just described is the in-service event. It's either medical or evidence other than med. In-service event just means evidence from service, okay? It's not necessarily an event or a diagnosis in service. Now, a diagnosis in service would be awesome, okay? Well, for VA benefit purposes. But I assume you mean your exit exam would suffice as the in-service event. It's a little bit low on the poll, right? It depends on what your evidence other than medical is, right? So let's say on your exit exam, you complained about your knee conditions, right? Hey, my knees hurt. That's the only time you complained, but you have 4 combat deployments as an infantryman doing foot patrols. You can see how evidence other than medical would support that finding in the exit exam, or that complaint in the exit exam, and then that would make your in-service event stronger, right? There's tons of situations. It just depends on what yours is. All right, we got our new member, Tom the Bombaddy. Tom the Bombaddy. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Welcome to the ranks, Lance Corporal. Lance Corporals, you know, blood makes the grass grow. Remember that. All right, LG says, thank you for being a member and a moderator, LG. Says, hey bro, been helping my pops get properly rated. Has 70% for mental health. I'm trying to do secondary to his migraines and IBS. Has years of complaints for both, but was recently finally diagnosed. Will definitely keep you posted. Absolutely, LG, and good on you for paying it full forward. I know it's within the family, but dad or not, a veteran's a veteran. All right, James Wood, you're next on my list here. Tane Alexis. I'm gonna say Alexis. Tom Bombadil, nerd card, revoked. Yeah. Revoke it. Sorry. I did not put that together. Okay. So Alexis says, you can call me Alexis. Awesome. Look at that. You can call me Alexis. I'm going through my C file. Okay, you have your C file. That's awesome. I'm seeing that I filed a disability claim with the VA in June of 07. I was never contacted for it, and I didn't file again until 2015. I am. Go ahead and finish that sentence for me, Alexis. And Tom Bombadil says, thanks for all the info and help with your videos and chats. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. All right. Alexis, go ahead and finish that statement, and I'll get back to you. I think we covered everyone. Yeah, we did. Okay. All right. James Wood says, just made 70% with 50% for insomnia. I'm thinking of going for TDIU. If the VA denies, will I lose some 70%? Why would you? Why? The only thing that would lower that is if your symptoms were assessed properly, and then you rated the 50% criteria, right? Just because you were denied IU wouldn't mean that you don't rate 70% for insomnia, or any condition at any rate. Glenn Davis, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. I don't see a chat, but I definitely appreciate that. Larry Morgan says, good morning, Clay. What up? Good morning. Thanks for being a member. Appreciate that. Okay. WT Gardner says, I had 2 C&P exams. I got you, Joe. I had 2 C&P exams. One was blood work. I just saw that 11 DBQs were uploaded. Is that normal? Don't worry about the VA internal stuff, okay? I wish they would just delete that altogether. It's getting on my nerves. Don't worry about that at all, right? You had your exams. C&P was for migraines, Meniere's, and GERD. All right. You had your exams. Now you're going to do through the process. Let the VA do VA stuff. If you try and figure out the VA stuff, you're going to commit suicide, okay? All right. Joe B says, would I need a Nexus to claim IBS secondary to mental health and anxiety? You do not need a independent medical opinion or private Nexus letter, if that's what you're asking, okay? You don't have to go out and get that. It would definitely make the claim strong, assuming it was a good Nexus and good DBQ, but it's not required at all. In fact, I wouldn't really recommend it until you're in appeals, but you know, some people want to submit the fully developed claim up front, which is totally okay. It's just not what I would recommend. But you can if you want. But to answer your question, do you need one, Joe? The answer is no, right? Now, if you're denied, depending on why you were denied, then that answer may change a little bit. But based on this, no, you don't need one. Now, this is Morning Coffee live Q&A. I say coffee, but it's Starbucks. I'm a millennial. Sorry. Okay. Okay, Easy Does It. Another awesome name. I got you, Alexis. Where can disabled veterans find doctors that's willing to write Nexus letters for secondaries? The video I posted 10 minutes ago, it's live right now, shows you exactly how to do that. I go on Google and I do some searching, and I actually give pointers at what to look out for, right? If you're in the market for a private Nexus, what is it that you look out for? And how do you make that decision for yourself, okay? So check that out, Easy Does It. What a solid timing question, because it was scheduled to post today. It just posted 10 minutes ago. So check that out, Easy Does It. All right, Alexis, let me go back to your first one just to I'm going through the C file. I'm seeing that I filed a disability claim in 2007. I was never contacted for it, and I didn't file again until 2015. I have entered a supplemental for migraines. Okay. It sounds good, Alexis. If there's a question in there, let me know. But it seemed like you did a supplemental claim for migraines. I'd be curious as to why you were denied migraines in the first place. Now, this was in 2007, I assume, or was a denial in 2015? But I would still like to know why you were denied in the first place, and then what evidence you submitted with this supplemental claim. Because supplemental claims are only good if you submit new and relevant evidence. Relevant is going to be key there. Oh, okay. I see that. I see that. There is, well, I don't want to give you false hope. I was going to mention the queue, but it's rare. Okay. If that's the case, and you have evidence from service, okay, and you have a current diagnosis or at least treatment for migraines, then it's probably going to be a solid supplemental claim based on these comments alone, right? So yes, it would be a supplemental because you were denied, and you have to submit new and relevant evidence, okay? Tom, thank you for being a member. So I just had a C&P exam at the shadiest office in Northern Virginia. That's where I'm located. I just got another C&P exam with the same person. I thought we weren't supposed to get the same person again. Yeah, that does not fly. The VA will do what the VA is going to do. Kind of sucks, right? Okay. Let's answer 2-3 actual. 2-3 says, good morning, brother. Great coincidence question. Already rated for PTSD, applied for PACT Act claims last year. Why did they schedule a new PTSD C&P exam, which I'm about to do today? Thanks. Yeah, so I assume you recently got out of service, especially when it comes to mental health. It's more than likely going to be re-evaluated. That deserves its own video. There's a code somewhere in there that gives more detail, more technical detail than what I just said, but it's normal, okay? They're going to reevaluate your symptoms after you've quote-unquote adjusted. That's what it seems like, okay? I don't know the context to your question. That's what it seems like. Larry Morgan, thank you for being a member. He answers a question from Katz. Says you can only carry one mental health. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate it. Yep, and Alexis, you're being treated for migraines, which is solid. That's good. It seems like you have a good supplemental claim. Based on these comments, okay? John Peters, hey, if you get value from this, I would appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button, okay? It helps other veterans reach the live. It helps me. It helps you. It helps everyone. All right? Don't gatekeep. I'll come back to you, Primal. John Peters says, good morning, Clay, with a thumbs up. Good morning to you. My question is, I had an incident in service where I lost several teeth. That sucks. I bet that hurt. And is documented in my service treatment records. Can I file a claim and how? You can. You would need a chronic diagnosis or chronic condition. Right? It seems like there's going to be whatever happened, right? I mean, heck, could even be head trauma, TBI, right? Would be on my list of look out for. Obviously, context is going to depend there, but you absolutely can. But you do need a condition to claim, right? All right, Primal, and then I'll get to the donations. Thank you very much. Primal says, my ENT, ear, nose, and throat, completed a DBQ and stated at least as likely as not. That's not good. That means there's no nexus, right? Caused by in-service event. Do I need a nexus to claim chronic sinusitis rhinitis? 2, 0% deviated symptom from trauma events. 3, current diagnosis. Yeah, the diagnosis isn't the issue. It's your in-service event and your nexus. Now you're hinting at secondary, which could be possible, right? It's not a one-size-fits-all though, so you have to show how your deviated symptom is leading to your sinusitis and rhinitis. Now, if you rate the PACT Act presumptive for Gulf War era or post 9/11, which I assume you don't because you're saying at least as likely as not for that, but yeah, you can. It just depends on your evidence. Okay, Glenn Davis, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it, seriously. Does being on SSDI have any weight during a C&P exam for PTSD? Not necessarily, but if you're on SSDI for mental health, the current evidence are there, right? So your diagnosis, your symptoms, that's not the issue. The issue at that point becomes your evidence from service and your nexus. Social Security is not VA compensation. VA compensation is to service connect your conditions that are connected to your military service. That's it. No more, no less. Okay? So as far as diagnosis and symptoms, you got that clearly. Right? Boom. That's just one of the big three. You still need the in-service event. You still need evidence from service. And then the evidence from service will essentially be the foundation for the nexus, right? So the answer is yes, no. I hope that's a good answer. All right, Mr. Hello All, thank you very much, says, is Dr. Sharma and Dr. Patel both legit? Recommend. I recommend them because they're in my description, and you can go to my website, and I'm very transparent about all of that. So yes, I recommend them. Are they both legit? I would not recommend anyone who's not legit, okay? In fact, I had some issues with another company, you don't have to say it in the chat if you know, who said one thing, but it ended up being something else, okay? I wasn't down for that at all, and so I no longer partner with them because it was a little bit, you could say gaslighting, right? I'm gonna fix my thing here, okay. But yeah, they're both legit, man. One's a psychiatrist, one's a physician. I don't recommend, watch the video today, I just posted it 18 minutes ago. I do not recommend private nexus letters and private DBQs for initial claims. That's a me thing. Can you do it? Sure. I'm not gonna recommend it though, okay? LG says, bro, meeting with VeteranAI next week, and I'm doing my research, but any advice? Yeah, talk about your disabilities and your need for training. VeteranAI, I like this question because it's not disability related. VeteranAI is not disability. It's not an education program. It's an employment program, okay? So your whole mindset is, I need this training for this job because of my disabilities. That is your story outline, okay? So be prepared to talk about that. Yeah, Alexis, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think we covered everyone. Okay, let's get back to Glenn Boosie. Glenn Boosie says, you know what, while I have some time, let me grab some more nerdy stuff here. Check this out, dude. Okay. Glenn Boosie says, I submitted my intent to file 2 years ago. Just got bumped from 90 to 100 P&T. Hey, congrats, dude. Congrats. The VA dates my rate changed to February this year instead of my date to intent to file. Have you heard of that happening? It happens all the time. Now double check your dates. Really be sure that you are correct, but it's super simple. It would take you like 3.5 minutes to do online. Go to va.gov, go to file claim online. It's gonna say, are you active duty? Yes, no, whatever. Then it's gonna say, is this for a new condition or are you disagreeing with decision? You hit disagree, you navigate yourself to a higher level review, you click on the condition that was rated, and then you argue for the effective date. So you want a higher level review for the effective date, and that's how you do it. Super, 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 super easy. Okay? Super, super easy. All right. Ken Rice. Oh, JC Cordova. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. I don't see a question from you. Oh, I see one right above. Right above. I should probably get rid of the stickers because it's difficult. I'll deal with that later. Okay. JC Cordova says currently rated at 70% and am very close to the 80% mark. I was awarded a CAB and would like to file a mental health claim. Is a CAB sufficient evidence? It's good enough to get it started. You still need to, it's not presumptive, right? I know you didn't word it that way, but I'm just saying, I'm describing it this way for a reason. It's not presumptive, so you still need to prove that whatever incident or multiple incidences happened during that time led to your mental health symptoms, right? A easy example would be like you still get night terrors and night sweats and panic attacks because you have reoccurring thoughts of whatever happened, right? That would be more so on the PTSD side of the house, but mental health is mental health. But to answer your question, yes, you absolutely can do that. You have the in-service event there. There's more context to your claim other than, hey, I got a cab, now I got mental health, right? Or I have a CIB or a car, I got mental health. It doesn't work like that. All right. Military Retirement Podcast. Thank you very much. Says Star Wars, all the things. Yeah. I'm a big nerd, doing a morning live. Everyone on the stream, Military Retirement Podcast, we just did a live. You can go check that out. It's on my community tab, or you can just watch there. Go to their YouTube channel. I'm asking supporters of the channel to subscribe to Military Retirement Podcast. If they get 1,000 subs, okay, they will go to the Military Influencer Conference in Georgia. That happens in September, I believe. So show them some love. That'd be great. It's on my community tab, our live Q&A. Okay. Happiness. Welcome to the rank of Lance Corporal, right? Lance Corporals make the blood. Lance Corporal's blood make the grass grow. So welcome to the club. I appreciate that. Thank you for being a member. All right. Nicholas Nicholas says, I just got my C&P exam appointments for next week. One is for GERD, and the next one is for mental health, since my GERD is secondary. Any tips on the psych exam? Yep. CivDivOnline.com. Go to mental health. There's 2 videos. One's for mental health C&P exam. One is for mental health symptoms. You're going to want to watch both of those. CivDivOnline.com. It's got everything. Okay? It's got everything. All right. SB said, I tried applying for sleep apnea direct in 21. I think you mean 2021. With buddy statements from 2 buddies, girlfriend at the time, and current wife. I served from 89 to 93. I was approved sinusitis and rhinitis. And finish that sentence for me, SB. Yeah, so it seems like you were in the Gulf War, okay? Or at least Southwest Asia. I'm curious as to how your mental health claim went. Based on this, I would probably assume it was denied, but there's some other evidence that I don't know of. Okay, Let me know, SB. And my chat on my... All right, let's... I have to start somewhere because... Okay. Teddy Woodson says, good morning, Clay. When does reasonable doubt kick in? It doesn't. I have a diagnosis and in-service event, but examiner said the cause is more likely caused post-service, but there was no evidence for that opinion. Oh, okay. Solid. This is where attorneys really shine, in my opinion. It's when C&P examiners make baloney opinions based on nothing, right? If they have the opinion that came from post-service, there needs to be evidence of that opinion, just like if they had an opinion that came from service. There would have to be evidence, okay? Especially if they're saying more likely, which means that there is evidence somewhere, or there should be evidence somewhere, okay? So that would be, at a minimum, a higher level review there. Obviously, there's some context that I don't know for your situation. All right, Leander says, just had a C&P exam for increase on my loss of use for foot. That sucks. I had for 38 years. Examiner said I have loss of use of knee, and she was changing it. Will that happen? No. So you'll have a rating for your foot, and it seems like there's going to be a connection for your knee. All right, SB, I got you, SB. SB says, yep, I got the presumptive stuff. I was diagnosed in 2007 via local non-VA sleep center. After denial, I asked my VA sleep doctor to write Nexus for appeal, changing OSA secondary to your other respiratory conditions. She doesn't believe it's true. I see others applying for secondary. Am I missing something? Yeah, you need evidence showing that. Here's the deal with secondary conditions, okay? And I know YouTube is all about secondary conditions, right? They always get views and all that stuff. So here's your truth on secondary conditions. You can't just say something is secondary. Like, oh, I was denied sleep apnea secondary to mental health. Well, now my sleep apnea is from sinusitis. You can't just say that. There's got to be, oh, come on, baby. There's got to be evidence indicating that your conditions are leading to your sleep apnea, right? So you can't just off the wall say it. So if your provider is saying they do not believe your sleep apnea came from your other respiratory conditions, that's not good off the bat, okay? I'm not saying you can't get it connected. I'm just saying the evidence indicates it's not good. You are also overweight, okay? So you're overweight, which is a very, very strong correlating factor to sleep apnea. That has nothing to do with asthma, sinusitis, and rhinitis. Now, if you can get your obesity as an intermediate step through the VA, then that opens up the avenue for weight gain. But without that, your claim is dead. The VA is going to say, you're fat, it's not service-connected, denied. And that's just the truth, okay? So I would really look at seeing what does your weight gain stem from? Is it a bad diet and a lack of exercise? If so, that's not the military's fault, right? Now, is it your mental health and your other conditions that led to your bad diet and your lack of exercise that made you overweight, and now you can do sleep apnea intermediate step to, secondary obesity, sleep apnea secondary with the intermediate step obesity to mental health, right? That makes sense, but you can't just say, nope, it's connected to sinusitis, right? There has to be evidence. I get people don't like that answer, but that's the answer, okay? That is the answer. Lori T, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. I'm hoping my daughter goes back to sleep. Says, just want to say thanks again. No questions. Lori, thank you very much. Thank you. Drink my coffee. I've been letting it get cold. Appreciate that, Lori. Okay. Derp Turkey says, what up? What's up, Derp? Hope you're having a good day. Thank you for being a mod and a member. Okay. James B, thank you for the donation. Appreciate that. Says, I am 90% and I was diagnosed with chronic sinusitis and rhinosinusitis and received 0% rating with DBQ. Should I appeal or go for HLR? What does your DBQ say? You know? Does your evidence indicate 0%? Because if so, what are you gonna appeal? Right? With a higher level review, you need evidence indicating that you rate higher than 0% for a higher level review. Evidence you submitted with that claim. I'm gonna assume your DBQ has that. I just want to set the baseline. Okay. So if your DBQ shows a higher symptom severity based on 38 CFR for sinusitis, then it would be a higher level review. Okay, if it does not, you need to get the evidence and do a supplemental for that. The higher level review would be for the rating given, right? Okay, thank you very much for the donations and member chats. Appreciate that. Let's look at. I got you. Easy does it. Let me answer some questions real quick. CJ Webster says, how do you get 100%? Need help? Do you help veterans or not? Come on, big dog. You gotta have some self-responsibility here. All right. Kaylin Johnson says, I'm claiming GERD secondary to that condition, used for migraines. I'm sorry, medication. Okay. Do I need to be currently prescribed? I've been using them over the counter, and the last time I was prescribed them in 2022. You have the evidence there, but you have the right track of mind. Personally, my personal opinion is to speak with your provider, right? Get the treatment that is required, have it on record. You were prescribed, so it's there. I would just like to see more current and continuity, me personally, just for evidence reasons. But you have the right mindset, okay? If you have evidence indicating that medication that's helping your migraines is leading to your GERD or aggravating your GERD, then you have an argument for a claim. You still got to gather the evidence, right? And your healthcare is really going to be important. Not just for healthcare reasons, but for evidence reasons. All right. My coffee's cold now, but whatever. We will still drink it. Happiness says, if we filed PTSD increase 2 times, but the VA will not allow examiner to view C-file or IMOs, okay? Do we file an increase again for duty to assist? I know it should be 100% rating. There's a lot going on with that comment, Happiness. I'll give you a general answer, but there's a lot of context here. So first, if you don't need a medical opinion, right? You're already service connected. What you need is a DBQ. So if you have a DBQ that is complete, meaning good, it doesn't suck, that indicates the rating for mental health should be 100%, then it's a high, in my opinion, I would do a higher level review of the informal conference, okay? Looking at your question about the duty to assist, not really. It would just be a higher level review, but the DBQ would have to be complete and solid, right? All right, Ryan Thomas, thank you for being a member, says, do you recommend against a private DBQ for first claim, or just thinking it isn't necessary right from the start? Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because it's easy to talk about medical opinions and DBQs and kind of forget the baseline here. My opinion only, The video I posted this morning, 35 minutes ago, says the same thing. I'll give you a synopsis. My opinion is I would not recommend any veteran submit a private Nexus or private DBQ with their initial claim, right? You can if you want. It's totally okay. It's just not something that I recommend. And here's why. If you have the in-service event, right, whether that's medical evidence, especially medical evidence, okay? But medical evidence or evidence other than medical, or in perfect scenario, both. You have the in-service event, you have the current diagnosis, you have a treatment plan, right? Whether it's medication, physical therapy, whatever. Something that shows your symptom severity that's documented as medical evidence. When you submit that claim, a C&P examiner is more than likely going to connect those two. You only hear people talk about denials because the loudest voice in the room gets heard. No one talks about their, people aren't screaming that the C&P examiner was awesome. They're just screaming that their C&P examiner sucked. Maybe their evidence sucked. Who knows? Okay? That's why. Because logically, hold on, baby girl. Logically, the examiner would be able to connect that. Right? Now, if you're denied, the decision letter will tell you why you were denied. And so that's why I recommend private Nexus and private DBQs in appeals and, caveat, a few secondaries, okay? Because the decision letter will tell you if you have complaints from service. The decision letter will tell you if you have a current diagnosis. And the private IMO and private DBQ can use the rationale used from the previous examiner to strengthen their own opinion, okay? Daniel Ashlock with the coffees. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, man. Morning coffee. Guess it's about to turn into afternoon coffee here soon. Joseph Rottenberry says, thank you for being a member. And we have a donation. I'll definitely get to that donation. I skipped it. All right, let me go back up. VG Farrar, thank you very much, man. Seriously. Says, I'm service connected for fibro, 10, IBS 0, chronic fatigue 10, and entered in a supplemental for mental health with psychological condition that has a DBQ and Nexus by Dr. Sharma. I feel my chances are low. I don't know why you would... I don't know what evidence you're indicating that your chances are low, right? You have a supplemental claim, so you've been denied. You have a board-certified psychiatrist that's at the top of the food chain for psychiatry that believes in their opinion, and your evidence builds the opinion. Okay, so you clearly have evidence. I'm not sure why you would think your chances are low, but the result of this claim, let me know. Okay. Thank you very much, though. Appreciate that. Joseph Rottenberry says, got a TDIU C&P exam coming up, 70% mental health, 30% left knee, 20% back, 20% gastric, 10. Okay, we got everything. Said they are only to rate me on the old ratings. What do I do? Yeah, so this is another reason why YouTube sucks. There is no new ratings. Right? I assume you mean the mental health ratings and all the other ones that are proposed. There are no new ratings, right? For your GI stuff, which is your gastric ulcers, maybe, depending on the diagnostic code there, it will be rated on both, okay? But I'm not sure what you're fine. Happiness, you could do a new supplemental claim with a new DBQ, but you would need to make sure that DBQ is absolutely solid, okay? Absolutely solid. Yeah, she wants to give her opinion. Yeah, well, she can keep it. She can keep it. Ryan Thomas says, thanks, man. Very helpful. Puts me at ease. Hey, I hope so, man. I hope so. SB says, how do I find a private sleep doctor who understands this process to write a legit Nexus? My local private sleep doctor retired. Yeah, man. Watch the video I posted 39 minutes ago. This morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. It just posted. on that video, I hop on Google and I search for private Nexus letters. Right? I go through what to look for, what to watch out for, what to consider. Right? At the end of the day, it's your choice. But just some, tools for your toolbox. Nathan Wilk says, thank you for being a member. Says, I got rated for my allergic rhinitis, my first C&P without applying for it. But Clay is damn right. I threw a fit about mental health denial that took 2 years in HLR to correct. Yeah, man, that sucks. I hate to see it. I'm glad it was corrected. But the 2 years through a higher level review and then closed and supplemental and all that stuff it sucks. Easy Does It says my last super chat was skipped. Oh my shit. Man, I wish you did not donate again. I apologize, but I'm going straight to it. Easy Does It. Oh, I did, dude. I even liked it too. Okay. Easy Does It. You have my full attention. Where can disabled veterans find doctors that's willing to write next letter secondaries? I just answered that one, okay? The video I posted this morning shows exactly how to use the internet, specifically to look for private Nexus letter providers. I don't know what specialty you're looking for, right? If you want to type it in the chat, I'll give you more info, especially because I skipped your chat. So just go ahead and type it in the chat. What condition are you wanting to claim? Secondary to what? All of that's going to matter. All right, Derp says, if I got seen for stuff I have seen for in a while, I'm still active duty. Should I get re-seen? Stuff hurts. Yeah, Derp. If you have the time, I got you easy. I'm just gonna word search your name. Derp, if you have the time to be seen for whatever is currently hurting to build more evidence, that's perfect, right? At the end of the day, you're on a BDD claim, and so you already have the evidence. As long as you have a chronic condition through the C&P exam, it's going to be service connected. Okay, Bobby D's, I'll come back to you. I need to search for Easy Does It real quick. Easy Does It. Will my Nexus be acceptable since I live in a different state? And will it be a video exam for the first time with Dr. Sharma? Yeah, so mental health can be conducted by a telehealth appointment. That's fine. If you're talking for, like, you want a DBQ for your spine, and that's done, via video, which there's not a provider that I know that's doing that, that would be wrong, okay? But mental health is totally okay to be a telehealth exam. You're fine. There's nothing to sweat there at all. Okay, I think that was the question that you asked. Easy does it? If not, just type it up in the chat right below, and I'll answer you. You have my full attention. All right, Bobby D's, and thank you very much, by the way. It says my pes planus and plantar fasciitis were combined. Can I get them separated? No, you cannot. I know they're two different. Conditions and codes, or should I leave it alone? There's nothing you can do, Bobby D's. Those are connected forever. There's nothing you can do about it. I have a video explaining this that I think is scheduled to post here soon. I've been really trying to rack my bank up on schedules. Okay. On May 6th, I answered that question. It's called 2 ratings for foot conditions, okay, for flat feet and plantars. Synopsis about Bobby D's? No, you can't. I go over the M21 code that states that you cannot, right? It states that they will be combined and the VA will take the highest rating. There's nothing you can do about that, okay? It's just VA doing VA stuff. All right. I went ahead and pinned a comment from Military Retirement Podcast. Go ahead and give them a sub. I just had a live podcast with them. They're cool dudes. One's Army, one's Marine. They're both chief warrant officers. 3s, I believe. But they're cool dudes, right? New channel. Support them. If you support me, I ask that you support them. just by subbing. All right. Nathan Wilk says, couldn't have done it without the help and support from you and your channel. Hey, man, thank you. That's the whole reason I did this channel in the first place. I'd have given up a long time ago. There are good examiners and reviewers out there and some who aren't. You're absolutely right. They're just people. There are good people, there are bad people. There are good VSOs, there are bad VSOs. There's good veterans and there's bad veterans. There's good examiners, there's good raters, okay? Joseph Rottenberry says, on my early question, this on ratings, I got service connected 2 weeks ago. Have had 70% mental health and 30% for left leg. How does VA consider the ones I got 2 weeks ago? By 38 CFR for those conditions. So your back, right? I have a whole, go to CivDivOnline.com and you can look up body systems for a full explanation of what I'm about to say. But your back is rated probably on range of motion. Your gastric ulcers is rated somewhere in the GI tract issues. Your knees are rated on range of motion. Your ankles rated on range of motion. Yeah, so in your case, largely going to be a range of motion. And the scale for range of motion is different for like knees, ankles, back, stuff like that. All right, Happiness says, is Delcagram helpful? They are, right? Now they service a buttload of veterans, okay? Based out of Oklahoma, but they're an accredited VSO that helps nationwide online. And so if you want to use Delcagram, by all means go for it. If not, that's fine. For sure, I expect all VSOs to be time restricted with bullying attributes. I wouldn't say that, Happiness. Come on now. I wouldn't say that personally. There are bad VSOs out there. There are good VSOs. I can tell you VSO reps. I can tell you Delcagram as an organization is solid. Okay. Yep, and that's, yeah. There you go. Thank you. Thanks, Greg. If you copy paste what Greg said at Bobby D's, it's part echo, right? Or echo, which is all the way down towards the bottom. You'll find it. Easy Does It says, this will be for DBQ and Nexus to support depression secondary to tinnitus, which I had been denied for. Okay. All right. More questions. I'll probably go till 11:30. 45 more minutes, I think, will be fine. $45 more minutes, or until this turd bucket over here starts screaming. All right. I'm going to scroll down and start answering some more questions. Okay. What's up? Brad Rolls with a Z. Hello. Charles says, is it normal for claims to take 1+ a year to resolve and be finalized? It's not normal, right? Not normal at all. Believe it or not, right? Take this, interpret this as you will. The VA does service connect a ton of conditions. The majority, in fact. Within a reasonable timeline, meaning like 4 to 6 months on average, okay? Now, are some claims, some situations taking a lot longer? They absolutely are, okay? That doesn't invalidate those claims that are. Isn't it funny that I just said that? Doesn't invalidate if your claim is taking forever, but that's not the standard, okay? A lot of claims are done properly, and those that aren't done properly get broadcasted, okay? Mr. B says 40% back, 10/10 for nerve damage. Can I qualify for TDIU? No. Let me give her a minute to see if she'll calm down. If not, I'll bring her on the live with me, okay? Chris Lancaster says, thank you. Let's say hypothetically. Chris, I got you. All right, special guest. Special guest. Don't cry when you're this close. Okay. Hi. Hi. I'm in my little sleep sack. Okay. Chris Lancaster says, let's say, hypothetically, the new mental health change is going to affect today, and I submit my claim tomorrow, where they'd make the decision with the new rating. Here's how that whole deal goes. I have a video explaining this, but here's the synopsis, okay? Let's take GERD and IBS, which it goes into effect May 19th. Today's May 2nd, right? So you got 17 days. Two scenarios. You submit that intent to file today. Then you submit the claim. You'll be rated off of both schedules, new and old. Oh, she's pissed. New and old, okay? And the VA will take... The VA will take the higher of the ratings, okay? She might be hungry, honestly. The VA will take the higher of the ratings. That's if you submitted the intent to file now. Now, May 20th comes around. Then you do your intent to file, you're only rated on the new schedule. You can use that scenario for all and any changes, okay? Unless there's a memorandum or policy that dictates differently, that's how it goes, okay? For those that are already rated for GERD and IBS, we're still using that as a scenario. They would have to submit an increase, okay? So the VA won't automatically separate those ratings and reevaluate them. You'd have to do an increase to have them separated, but then you would fall under the new criteria, because if they're separate, that's the new criteria, right? So it might not be advantageous to do that. Your scenario will depend, okay? If she screams again, I'm gonna take my phone upstairs and I'll bring you with me to make a bottle, okay? Happiness says, yes, we can file supplemental on a PTSD decided within 1 year with a new DBQ. You can, absolutely. You can absolutely do that. Oh, there's another Darth Maul thing I didn't show y'all. That is the Last Supper, but instead of Jesus and the disciples, it's Darth Maul and Disney princesses. There's a story behind that. Don't worry about it. Thank you very much, Happiness. I appreciate that. Sarah P, thank you. Daniel, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Happiness says, if the VA did not consider medication for asthma, can we just turn in a 4138 explaining that in prescriptions? It would be depending on when the rating was given, Happiness, or Happy NES. Let's say it was given 3 months ago, you would just do a high-level review because you already have the evidence, right? If it's over that, then yes, you could do a 4138 with a supplemental. Or an increase, right? An increase post 1 year. Okay. Fuse Man says, thanks CivDiv. The claim I won was for chronic fatigue syndrome at 60. That's a solid claim. And it did change my overall rating from 80 to 90. Awesome. I bet, you might be in the higher 90s realm. Thanks for taking the time to answer my question. Hey, man, thank you for asking it. No questions, no live. Remember that. If there's no questions, there is no live. Let me just get her out of the sleep sack. I'll answer someone's question. Jay Castrano says, do I have to submit a intent to file for each claim I plan on submitting, or is it just one? Just one. You do an intent to file, whatever your initial claims are, whatever your increases are, whatever your secondaries are, it's all the same. You rope them all in there, okay? You can do that online at va.gov. You can use a VSO. VSO would be easier. That's what I would prefer. Oh yeah, dude, y'all getting some baby booby action, okay? That's what I would do. All right. Easy does it, man. You're killing it today. Thank you very much. Okay, don't donate again. You're gonna make me feel bad. Says, do you think it's necessary for Dr. Sharma to include actual dates in my VA complaints from my record to show that Dr. Sharma read my records? In his medical, in anyone's medical opinion, that's what they're gonna do. Okay, or at least roundabout, right? So it could say something like on May 1st of 2013, this complaint, or it could be, you know, after reviewing the Veterans Service Treatment records during the PDHA, this evidence indicates yada yada yada, right? So it could be worded however it's worded. Just depends. Okay. King Craft says, greetings. How can I file? Thanks for being a member, Ken. How can I file if my previous PCP has retired and those records are not available? I would do everything you can to get those records. I assume you mean private. But private records would only indicate continuity of symptoms and a current diagnosis, right? It has nothing to do, oh shit, sorry. It has nothing to do with the in-service event. So you still need the in-service event, right? You can explain the continuity of symptoms with your previous PCP, and then submit that with the current diagnosis. Assuming we're talking initial direct service connection. Nathan says, by the way, keep up the good dad work. Hey, thanks, man. You kiddo. All right. Yeah, dude, why don't you just relax? Let me take my phone. You know what? Come on. Take your tour of my little kitchen. Let's go. Let's roll. Let's roll. I'm gonna continue answering questions. Don't worry. Jay Graydon, sorry, says, hold on. I can't read and walk upstairs. I'm gonna break my neck. Hold on. The lights are off for my lighting purposes, by the way. Okay. I made it. Would the list of diagnosis from my Army Medical Record Board paperwork count for VA claim purposes? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? That's a solid. The best in-service event is a diagnosis. If you have a clinical diagnosis, that's the best in-service event you can have. Right? Current, meaning within 1 year, but as long as that condition is chronic, depending on what it is, it's probably still chronic. Okay? So you're probably good to go. Now, if that's 20 years ago, that's a different story. Okay? So time is going to be a factor there. Okay, let me heat this bottle up. I'll be right back. Bottle. Okay. Grab a chair. I know, your head's all jacked up, baby. Okay. I'm on paternity leave, in case anyone's wondering. That's why I'm home. Tyler says, IBS is 30%. Once they award that, you won't receive any additional for gastro problems. Not true. Not true at all. Depends what your symptoms are and what your other diagnoses are. There are multiple diagnostic codes within the GI tract, and those will, and IBS and GERD are now separated after May 19th. So, not true. Love. Question, answer. Letter came back 90 days or until judge makes a decision. How long should it take to get a decision? 2019 case Board of Appeals. I want everyone to listen to me here very closely. There's not a single person, not a single one on this entire planet that can ever give you an accurate timeline, ever, for when your claim is going to be decided, when it's going to move to the next stage, nothing, okay? So I don't know. I get that's a, you know, sucky answer, but that's the only answer I can give. No one knows. Gavin says, higher level review headaches within a year, denied. Supplemental headaches with new info within a year, approved. Awesome. Effective date 1 year after my initial headache claim, now in higher level review. Yeah, very, very common, actually. One of the most common mistakes I see the VA make is effective dates. All right, Klausel Ray says, I've got denied for flat feet due to not having new irrelevant evidence. Is in my STRs, however, entrance exams show that I was asymptomatic. Yeah, so it's an aggravation claim. But it's gotten worse. What would you do? If your entrance exam shows flat feet but not chronic, and then your exit exam shows a chronic condition, like pronounced flat feet, that would be your evidence for the appeal right there. But you're gonna need evidence showing that they got worse. You can't just say they got worse, okay? Carl Hartley says, can I claim sleep apnea as a secondary to depression, even if my depression claim was a secondary to my back? You can. You can do a secondary on a secondary on a secondary to a secondary, like Inception. You can. The question is, does your depression lead to your sleep apnea? It's not a one-size-fits-all. They're going to look at correlating factors there, right? Okay, Christopher Casanova says, what does it mean when my VA claim says deferred? It just means the VA needs more time. That's it, right? I wish the VA would just not say deferred and just say, hey, we need more time to decide this claim. I don't know why they don't make it as stupid, Barney style as possible. Doesn't make sense. Is there a VA rating for eating disorders? Yes, there absolutely is. If you Google mental health 38 CFR ECFR, you're going to click the ECFR link for mental health. Right below the general schedule, you'll see the eating disorder. There's also a DBQ for eating disorders. All right. That's the bottle. It also says you tore it up, but it's all good. I don't see them under SCT code is the issue. I'm covered under PACT Act. If you're covered under PACT Act, that would be the Nexus. You still need the current diagnosis. Let's go to the couch. Still need the current diagnosis. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Let me get all situated here, man. Okay. Bam. Woo. Hey, naked butt. Why don't you eat this? Let me get this going. All right. Bennett Joseph says, I was diagnosed with TBI, polar, diagnosed with PTSD, jumped to PNT. Hey, awesome. Congrats. Congrats on your PNT. All right. Dom, 1983, says, part 1. We've got 2 parts here. Currently rated under 5284. Other foot injuries, increase in secondaries denied this week with 1 item deferred. Funny thing is that the VA lumped several of my secondaries would that otherwise have their own diagnostic code and stated I didn't warrant an increase unless I exhibit moderate severe symptoms. Yeah, so I'm going to assume, Dom, you're talking about foot conditions here, and the VA is going to rate like pes planus, plantar fasciitis, that's 1 rating, and if there are other injuries, right? Because the VA rates symptoms. The VA rates symptoms, not the diagnosis. Remember that, okay? And so for you, VA rating purposes is 5284, which are other foot injuries. That's what you're rated as, okay? It's all the same. They're all the same symptoms according to M21, right? So there's no way to disconnect that at all. And you would have to prove that either your pes planus symptoms are 50%, like pronounced, or your plantar fasciitis is, 30%, or your other foot injuries rate the 30% criteria, right? 30% is max for plantars and other foot injuries, if I can remember, and 50% is max for, the heck am I saying? I don't know if y'all heard that or not, but that's what I'll have to deal with here in a second. Okay. Tawny Coleman said, I applied for tinnitus and they denied me for TERA. I didn't apply for TERA. Doesn't matter, the VA's gonna do VA stuff, right? So whenever you submit a claim, let's say you submit a claim for sleep apnea secondary to mental health. The VA, depending on what your evidence looks like, could, or they will, look at direct service connection and deny you for that. They'll look at your secondary claim, they'll deny you for that, assuming you're denied. And then if you rate the any TERA exposures, right, or toxic exposures, then they'll do a TERA exam. And so really, your decision letter could have 3 denials instead of 1. So to answer your question, that's normal. That's just the VA doing VA stuff, okay? James McAfee says, I just recently got medical. Oh, by the way, I'm on my phone. I don't have my laptop, so I can't see member chats at the moment. James McAfee says, I just recently got medical disabled retirement due to my service conditions. However, I'm not 100% yet, and I have exams coming up. Should I file for TDIU or wait till the exams? I'm a disabled vet. We're all disabled vets, brother. You were medically retired from service? If your claim warrants TDIU, submit for it, okay? If that's your case. All right. Rob, I need to get into 100% club. I'm only at 80. That's the wrong outlook, brother. That's the wrong outlook. Veterans shouldn't aim for 100%. I would actually recommend against it. Veterans should aim to be properly rated, whether that's 20, 50, 90, or 100. Because guess what? There's a whole SMC. 100% is not the max. You think of like disabled veterans, you're really on the high end of the SMC scale, which is higher than 100%. Okay? The goal is to be properly rated. So, you'll see things like high value secondary VA claims on YouTube, which is fine and dandy. That's good. But don't forget about everything else. Right? Be properly rated. That's the goal. That is the goal. You're going to finish that, by the way. You don't really have a choice. Eliza said, thank you for what you do. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Nate Harvey says, good morning. Is it common for supplemental claim to not be touched while new claims are on step 3? They're being processed through the VA's process. They're going to get to the claims when they get to them. They are separate individual claims. Okay, Wolfgang says, I have 30% for anxiety and depression. Seeing therapists in primary care prescribe Lexapro. Want to go for an increase? Should I get DBQ or wait to see if I get increase? I think if you have the evidence for the increase, then submit the increase. There's no reason for a DBQ unless your provider will do one for you. That would be perfect. If not, I wouldn't sweat it. Increases are super easy, especially if you have documented symptoms that show cause for the increase, right? Whether that's 50 or whether that's 70. Carlos says, is there a way to connect high blood pressure to Gulf War syndrome? There is. Mine developed as a result. I wouldn't say that because we're not medical professionals, so you really don't have the credentials to say that, right? You have to get evidence indicating that's so, right? I'm saying it that way to frame your mind correctly. You need evidence to show the connection. You can't just say it's connected, okay? Oh my goodness, it'd be a lot faster if you just relaxed. ASON says, I just got 30% for PTSD. They changed it to adjustment disorder. Is it best to do a supplemental to try to raise it? I got my records of terminations, arrest, and anger management. Terminations, arrest, and anger management don't really line up with 38 CFR outside of like irritability, okay? But if you have evidence of symptoms of your mental health, I don't care if it's PTSD, insomnia, don't care. If you have symptoms that show the higher rating criteria, then you would do the increase, okay? Now you just got rated, so it would be a supplemental claim, but you would have to show the evidence, the new evidence of your symptoms. If you already had the evidence, then you would do a higher level review. James McAfee says, so I have to donate money for you to answer? Nope, I just answered your question, brother. Just answered it. L. Raff says, hey Clay, a VSR and a veteran myself here. What up, big dog? Says, love the clarity you provide on this channel. Thank you. I appreciate that, and it's almost validating, right? So thank you very much. I try to be. My goal whenever I do a video or live is to essentially take 38 CFR and M21, dumb it down, so the lowest common denominator can digest the information, right? That's the whole goal. VDog says, how can you get sleep apnea as a secondary service connected with your back? Weight gain. I've seen sleep apnea with the intermediate step of obesity, secondary to, lumbar strain or spine or whatever. But you'd have to show that your back condition is severe, and it led you to gain weight, and that weight gain led to sleep apnea, right? So there's a little trail that you have to build for that. Killmonger says, hey Clay, have you ever heard of National Guardsmen with 20 plus years of service being able to apply for BDD claims? That's going to apply for active duty service members. All right, Jacksonville, North Carolina says, hey Clay, just found out I have a diagnosis for lower back pain and myalgia, and just yesterday got referrals for a treatment plan for my back and neck. How should I go about submitting? Should I wait? Okay, so you have the diagnosis, which is one of the big three, which is good, right? It's good. It's not perfect. It's good. You still need the in-service event. So what from service do you have that talks about your back and your neck, whether that's medical or evidence other than medical? Probably one of the common things I see veterans do is they get diagnosed by the VA, and that's it. They're like, boom, I'm going to submit this claim. I was just diagnosed with a back condition. It's like, okay, well, hold on. Did your back condition stem from you getting old? Because guess who else has back pain? Every single body else. Everybody else, your mama, your grandma, your granddaddy, everyone has back pain. The question is your condition connected to service? And you prove that by evidence from service, okay? So whenever you submit that back claim and it's denied, it's probably going to be because you have no evidence from service, right? And hey, your back could have stemmed from service. It could also have stemmed from you being old, right? Things to think about. Glenn Davis says, does being on SSDI... Oh, we answered that one earlier. All right. Carlos Vega says, is there a way to connect high blood pressure? We answered that one. Ronald Sim says, hi, what up? I have a higher level review that closed due to duty to assist. By the way, I can't see member chats right now. I'm not at my computer because I'm a little busy over here. Okay. But when I go back downstairs, I'll answer all the member chats before I log off. Okay. Ronald Sim says, if I have a higher level review that closed due to duty to assist, can I submit a? Yeah, you can. Once the HLR is closed and it's back in, it's essentially a supplemental claim now. You can make sure there's no poop on me, dude. Make sure I don't have a blowout. I don't know if y'all can hear this over here. Put that in your mouth. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, baby. We getting a little juicy down there. Okay. Let me get her feeding again. Okay. Yes, once your duty to assist error is closed, or once your HLR is closed, you can submit new evidence. LRAF, all you have to do is claim, 526 EZ would be the paper version of that. You could also do it online, right? Personally, when it comes to veterans and VSOs, what I would recommend is that a veteran takes the time to understand what they want to claim, understand their evidence from service, and get a current diagnosis, or at least a current treatment plan. And you submit your intent to file to preserve the date. Then you go see a VSO. They'll take care of everything else. That's like the perfect world of how to submit your claim, in my opinion. Jacob Bays says, I saw a video on YouTube the other day that said your doctor is required by the VA to write you a Nexus letter. Yeah, there's a VA directive called 1134, but it means diddly squat. Okay? It's useless, right? So the video was factual, but the reality or the implementation of 1134 is pretty much dog water, right? And that would be the nice way to say it. Jimmy Elmore says, what is the rating of cirrhosis of the liver? Google it. Google liver conditions 38 CFR, ECFR. Action Pat Cooley says, hey bro, can you check the email? We just had a Zoom a couple days ago. This is Ty. I will. Broom Maker. It's the wordplay in a personal statement, or the 0995 regarding how to describe you were claiming. Do you just claim second to a certain condition, or have to add aggravates? Yeah, Broom, none of that, right? A veteran should never say my condition is secondary to whatever, or my condition aggravates whatever. Don't say it. You don't have the credentials to back that up, okay? Instead, you describe your symptoms, because that you do know. Hey, when my tinnitus flares up, it makes my migraines worse, okay? When I have a panic attack, it makes my asthma worse, right? Because you can't breathe, it's obstructive. Whatever that looks like for you, talk about your symptoms. That we can do. Bonus points, right? Whatever it is you put in your statement, it needs to be backed by medical evidence. So here's how I would word a personal statement if I'm looking at migraines and tinnitus, right? I would say, spring of 2024, I had an appointment with my VA primary healthcare, and I described when my tinnitus flares up, it really makes my migraines worse. So not only are you talking about symptoms there, and you can add some symptoms to that, that's just a short example. Not only are you talking about symptoms, but it's backed by medical evidence. Because the self-report is down here, okay? Medical evidence is up here, the quicker the veteran community understands that self-reports are baloney sandwiches, the better off their claims are going to be. Right? But hey, don't listen to me. I'm just that dude that talks smack on YouTube. So, okay, TMR says filed sleep apnea secondary to PTSD, had medical opinion citing medical link, at least as likely as not, via denied. I'm getting another IMO, this time from a psychologist. Oh, brother. I would not recommend that. Can you do it? Sure. Go for it. That's fine. I would not recommend that, okay? Because a psychologist, no. They don't go to med school. They have a PhD in psychology. I'm not dissing psychologists, right? Can they write Nexus letters? Yes. Can it be connected? Yes. But if you're going to pay for it, I would go to a psychiatrist, right? Especially for PTSD. Especially for PTSD. It's still the same because it's sleep apnea secondary to PTSD. That's what I would do personally. It also depends on the rationale that was used at what got you denied in the first place. What was the rationale? That's what I want to know. Another question I would ask before going another IMO route is, what was your first IMO? Who was it from? What was the evidence used? What was the rationale used for your first private medical opinion? Right? I would really get answers to those questions first before even thinking about getting another medical opinion, especially from a psychologist. Okay? Now that's my opinion. You could tell me I'm an idiot. That's fine. Just saying. Okay. I gotta scroll down. You gonna let me scroll down? You gonna let me scroll down? H. Bates says, on the exit checklist, I assume you mean for exit exam from the military, I mentioned it says joint pain, but I have shoulder injury that has no service medical mention specifically. Will that suffice? Oof. Maybe. It could. Okay. But you mentioned a higher level review, so I want to know if your decision letter says you do not have complaints in service, because then it could, right? If your HLR says you do have complaints in service, the VA already concedes to that, okay? So it depends why you were denied in the first place. Tawny Coleman says, I filed for tinnitus and denied me. We already answered that. We already answered that one. Brandon Chavez, how much pull do buddy letters have towards claims? Got one from my old medic. This is such a good question. Okay. One, it depends on the condition, right? Lay statements, buddy letters. Lay statements are pretty decent for lifestyle claims like mental health, right? Hey, I'm so-and-so's friend. We were served together. I'm his partner, whatever, right? I can speak on symptoms. You know, Brandon Chavez experiences night terrors and wakes up in a panic attacks, yada, yada, yada. I can observe that. I speak on symptoms. That's fine. If your buddy letter says, you know, my husband's IBS is connected to his PTSD, that's stupid, right? Because your buddy doesn't have the credentials to make that statement in the first place. So it depends. There's tons of context here. Assuming you have a proper lay statement, I personally like to see statements support medical evidence. So, if my spouse wrote a lay statement about my panic attacks at night, I would want to see medical evidence from your psychiatrist or therapist or whoever that says, you know, veteran has night terrors. There we go. All of a sudden, the statement supports medical evidence. That's a lot stronger, okay? Now, if we're talking lay statements for events, that's pretty solid, right? Saying, you know, you received indirect fire. In the Marine Corps, you wouldn't be awarded a combat action ribbon for indirect fire, right? There's a few clauses there, but generally speaking, you won't. And so the buddy statement could, support evidence the event occurred, right? Saying, hey, I was employed with, so-and-so poop head. We received indirect fire multiple times each week. Yada, yada, yada. And that's just examples. There are more. You don't want more, baby? Finish that bottle off. Finish that off. Yeah, finish that off. Yeah. Okay, cats, dogs. Says, do you get a higher total rating if you're diagnosed with PTSD or avoid PTSD diagnosis instead of having anxiety? You can't avoid a diagnosis, right? You can't say, hey, don't diagnose me with that, because the medical professionals are going to do what they are supposed to do. I see you, Kellyanne. I'll get you. Oh, thank you very much for the super sticker, man. I definitely appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, you can't deny a diagnosis, okay? As far as the rating goes, the VA rates symptoms. Symptoms, okay? I want everyone to understand that. The VA rates symptoms. They will look at your symptoms and find a diagnostic code to put it under, right? In this case, it would be the general schedule for mental health, and there's a buttload of like 9,200 diagnostic codes. I think that's the number. Don't quote me on that. But the VA rates symptoms. So if you're depressed, if you have panic attacks, if you have if your panic attacks keep you up at night, for insomnia, whatever the case may be, it's all the same. It's all the same symptom. The diagnostic codes have various symptoms under them, and that's how the VA kind of figures that out, okay? And when there isn't a diagnostic code for your specific symptom, they will find one. I think the foot conditions are a good example of that. The 5284, I believe, is other foot injuries, right? So the VA will just rope it under that. Oh my gosh, dude, we're on live. You're killing me. Okay, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna look at member chats. Okay, I'm gonna answer all the member chats, and then I'm gonna pop off this live. So if you're not waiting to hear me answer these questions, thank you very much for your time. But let's go look at these member chats, and then I'll hop off. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, baby. Baby girl. Okay, member chats. Bum, ba-da-bum, bum. Let's go look at member chats. All right. Ooh, look at my sick display here. Okay, it's okay. All right, member chats I missed, and after this, I'm gonna peace out, all right? So, Kelly, thank you very much. Let me start at the top of the member chats, and then I'll come down. All right, King Craft says, I have tried. They were my TRICARE provider when I was activated. By the way, I have referred about 50 people to your channel. I love you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Nathan says, oh, don't mean to duplicate, but wondering if there's a different rating between lumbar, DDD, and bulging disc. Nope. All the same symptoms. The VA will rate that under, there's two ratings schedules for the back. It's range of motion, which is by far the majority, and then incapacitating episodes, like prescribed bed rest. So that's all going to be range of motion. I have a video on lower back pain and how the back is rated, and it really goes deep into it. It's the same thing for the neck. Ken says, I have tried. They were my TRICARE provider. I was activated, but I have referred. Oh, awesome. Okay, King Craft, on a side note, I get a few VA exams to do where they want me to overturn a previous rating award, like back pain. Are you a C&P examiner, Ken? I get a few VA exams to do where they want me to overturn a previous rating award, like for back and other pain issues. Depends, okay? Especially if like an error was made. Happiness says, if not due to diabetes or blood pressure, have you experienced... Oh. Okay. Trey says, was given medication by VA doc for overactive bladder. My VA record shows my statement given to the doctor, but doesn't show a diagnosis. Should I still claim voiding dysfunction? You have medication, which means you have a SCT code for that, right? You can look at the video I posted yesterday on how to search those. But essentially, you have what you need to submit the claim, at least the current evidence. Joe B says a TERA exam, toxic exposure risk activity. That is anything from heavy particulates, asbestos, anything that has toxic exposure. You can rate a TERA exam, right? It's not presumptive, so people conflate PACT Act and TERA, two different things, not related at all. Okay. Presumptive means the VA concedes the nexus. The nexus is no longer medical, it's presumptive. A TERA exam requires the nexus to connect to the exposure, right? So I don't know what conditions are linked to asbestos. Let's just say condition X, all right? You have condition X, you were exposed to asbestos, you can prove it. Now the TERA exam is going to give the nexus, the opinion, that your condition X stems from the exposure, which in this case is asbestos. Right? That's what TERA is. It's not presumptive at all. LG, thank you for being a mod. Appreciate that. Okay, SB says, dude, thank you so much for your help. SB, to answer your question, if you have evidence showing the increase, so for asthma, see how that's or statements? There's or statements and statements. Or is just one, and is all of them, okay? So for instance, for asthma, it says FEV TAC 1 of 56, TAC 2 70% predicted, or then it says something else, or daily inhalational or oral therapy, or. So those are either or, right? So you just need one of those to rate that. If it said and, you would need both, or all of them. Okay, scrolling down for more member chats, then I'm going to pop off here. Trey says, I forgot to mention an earlier question. I'm service connected for my back. In urinary voiding dysfunction question, would VA doctors' words be okay, or need proof like a diary? Nope, your evidence is solid. Bladder conditions are actually common to lower back conditions, right? All right, SB says, cool, my VSO is telling me the opposite. No, because it's an or statement, okay? It's clearly an or statement. If it was and, it's different, okay? It's an or statement. That's factual. I'm not saying your VSO sucks. I'm just saying if that's what they're saying. If that's what they're telling you for asthma, they are wrong because it's an or. It's an or statement. Okay, and the last member chat I see is I need to claim Meniere's for my tinnitus ? You can. Tinnitus doesn't really cause anything based on medical consensus, not me, okay? So you're gonna have to gather the evidence for that. And then I have a whole video on ear conditions, hearing loss, tinnitus, vertigo, and Meniere's. It's all wrapped up in one that you can check out at CivDivOnline.com. Scroll down till you see ear conditions. All right, Sam with the $2 donation. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I am trying to get off of here, but I I don't see any questions from you, Sam. So if you have a question, throw it below. You donated, so I'm not gonna leave you hanging, okay? If you have a question, throw it below. I'll answer it. Easy does it. How can I chat with you? Thank you very much. So I don't do paid one-on-ones. That would be unfair. But if you go to my one-on-one playlist, you'll find, actually, let me double check that because I don't know. You'll find how to submit for a one-on-one, okay? I'm gonna add it to the playlist right now, actually, because I don't know if it's in there or not. But go to the one-on-one playlist. You'll find a video that says help, and that's essentially how you do it. You have to share my stuff, screenshot it, email it to me with the subject line one-on-one. That's the synopsis. That's the quick version. And I'm gonna do this and then answer these last questions, and then I gotta deal with this cute baby / monster. Okay, there we go. It's now in the playlist. Alright. Oh, okay. You just watched it, Daniel? So you can connect Meniere's to tinnitus. It's a very weak connection. You're going to have evidence, specifically from like your ENT or your audiologist, all right? That's secondary. Now, if you have evidence from service of dizziness, of other ear conditions that show cause for Meniere's, you can go that route too, okay? But to answer your question, anything secondary to tinnitus is not an easy claim, regardless of what YouTube tells you, right? I know YouTube will tell you that tinnitus is like the hidden gem. There's a joke in there, which it is, but it's not as easy as everyone makes it seem to be, okay? Because the evidence for tinnitus says the opposite, hence the changes to tinnitus. Okay, SB, thank you very much. Happiness, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that, especially being a member. Paul Lindsay, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Joe B, thank you. Man, last minute donations. Seriously, appreciate it. Alright, that's all I got, guys. I gotta go. She's crying. She's got a poopy in here. It's not on my arm, okay? It's close. It wasn't on my arm. I almost got poop on me. I have a live stream scheduled for Saturday, okay, at 5 Eastern. It's May the 4th. It's with an accredited VSO. She's super solid. We're doing a stupid Star Wars theme thing, right? But it's going to be a live Q&A. Make sure you check that out. You can go there now on my live and hit, you can wait, hit the notify button, whatever's going on. Oh, Joe B, did I miss it? Okay, I'll answer your question, Joe, in a second. Also, Military Retirement Podcast. Subscribe to them, okay? They're cool dudes. It's a podcast format. Subscribe to them. If they get 1,000, they're gonna head down to the Military Influencer Conference in Georgia in September, and I just did a live event with them. So I pinned their comments. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. I would definitely appreciate it. And if you comment on one of their videos or the live and say CivDiv sent me here, I'll love you forever. Okay. Let's go look at Joe B's question. Thank you, Sarah P. I appreciate that. Joe B, I am looking for your question because I skipped it. I was upstairs on my phone. That's why I couldn't see. Oh, what's it? If you're asking about the TERA exam, we answered that. A TERA exam requires an opinion to the exposure, right? Like hypertension secondary to asbestos. The TERA exam would, the opinion, not presumptive, the opinion would be to asbestos. I think that was your question, Joe. If not, go ahead and make a new comment, not on the chat, but make a new comment on a video. So, because I get notified for member comments when they are new, not a reply. I think that was your question. If not, dude, just make a new comment on a video, and I'll be notified. All right. All right, thank you very much. I'm out of here. Later, dudes.